Thanks for joining me. Welcome to my show. What do you do? Helping people stay out of prison once released, E6. Okay, to get a better understanding of this program, you should watch my pilot, which is E1, and you'll see where we're at. Okay, I got two letters here. One of them is basically a statement, but when I get to it, I will explain it. Okay, now the first letter I want to read is from Robert Adamy. He's 69 years old. He's Chicano. He's a male. He's a lifer. He was convicted of first-degree murder. He's been in prison 46 years, and he's currently in J. Donovan Correctional Facility. And he writes, "My parents were divorced and my mother remarried. I did not get along with her new husband. I had numerous fights with him when I was at home. I lived in east side of San Diego, mostly in a Chicano neighborhood. I have one older brother, one younger brother, and one sister. All my family are deceased. Now, I grew up mostly in California Youth Authority, and I was in and out throughout my teenage years to around 1975. I was sent to prison and I was given an N number, which didn't last too long, and I picked up a B number. And I have been in prison ever since 1977. 46 years and still going to the parole board every now and then. In fact, I fall under the Elderly Parole Consideration and the Youth Offender Consideration Act, and I know that sounds good. However, I'm still here on a sentence under the old law, 7 to life. I still have no date. In fact, my last parole board hearing, they said I was still a danger to society. I am 69 years old, ADA, I can't walk, I'm in a wheelchair, I use a hearing aid, and I barely can see, so I wear glasses. Convicted of first-degree murder in 1977, I was convicted by a jury. I was picked up on a warrant, and ex-gang members testified against me. Hearsay, etc., etc. Back then, I was an active gang member when I was a youngster. The parole board still brings that stuff up. Plus, I used to self-medicate, shoot dope to escape the reality of prison life. However, one must be very careful nowadays because too many of us are ODing and in and out of prison. Not too many homeboys are still around. And most of my time when I was growing up, I was running around with those homeboys doing bad things with no respect to other people's property. I enjoyed running around the streets. I grew up in the 70s, as I said, mostly locked up. I've been married twice, but it's hard keeping a wife when you're doing life in prison, and the visiting room gets old after a while. I don't hate myself, nor have I been suicidal. I just grew up as a kid on the east side of San Jose doing bad things and in and out of the youth authority that ended up with an N number, and now I have a B number. Yeah. 46 years. Man, my goodness. Okay, now his questions. Number one, mostly everybody in society as well as prison hate sex offenders and mostly child molesters. But why does society condemn us when we convicts do them bodily harm, which is expected of us by society? Okay, to clarify that, when you go to prison, people put race and everything aside when it comes to child molesters and sex offenders. When they hit the line, they get hurt or killed. And then the person that does that, the board and society holds that against them. When in fact, the society, from his understanding and mine, wants us to do that. So that's probably one of the excuses why they are keeping him in prison for beating up sex offenders and child molesters. Okay, number two. How do you control yourself when you are disrespected in front of your family or loved ones? Okay, number three. What does it mean when your loved one tells you she's bored? Must you entertain your loved one when she is bored? Okay, number four. I am a man. Seeing two women kiss does not really bother me. However, seeing two men kiss does bother me. It is very discomforting people sitting at home with their families, watching TV with their kids and seeing two men kissing or in bed. How do you feel about seeing that on TV? Okay, his last question is, why does it put a smile on a woman's face when she receives flowers? Okay, now he's trying to open up. He ain't there, but you can tell by one of these questions when he says, how do you control yourself when you're disrespected in front of your family or loved ones? So he's trying. But anyway, his name is Robert Adamy. His number is B74196. He's in CSP RDJ C12127. That's Donovan, exactly where he live at. 480 Alta Road, San Diego, California. 92719/001. So if you got any advice for him, this is how you address the letter. Oh, and one thing, it has come to my attention that they are giving a lot of inmates in prison little tablets now so they can, call, they'd be monitored and have an email. So maybe when you get in contact, you won't have to keep writing letters. They just can shoot you in and you can do what you do with the email. That's just some prisons. Okay, now this next one He's basically making a statement, but what came to my attention was in my pilot program, E1, when I was giving the example of what I'd be doing, I had my questions. And he answered them for me. Now, I'm not discriminating. I'm taking advice from anybody who's going to help me stay free in society. Believe that. So long as it sounds good and I can work with it, I'm going to use it. But before I get into that, I'm going to read what he says. He says, I am a lifer on a second-degree murder. 80 years of age and have been in prison for 33 years. The board is picking on me due to my autonomy, personal beliefs, and childhood background, which I admit was very troubled. Please pray for me and ask the governor to release me and other parolees eligible for parole who has been sentenced to 15 to life for second-degree murder and who has already served over 26 years on violent offenses that may have been committed while serving a prison sentence over a 40-year period. Parole-eligible lifers should be released, especially due to very serious overcrowding today. San Quentin is now really packed and badly overcrowded. Our constitutional rights need to be protected and enforced by federal courts. Okay. So, what he's saying is, a lot of us will go in there, go into prison, and we'll have our sentence for whatever, and a situation arises. You can be on the yard and a riot break out, and you're defending yourself, and you hurt somebody or something, and then get rolled up. But the board don't look at it like that. They expect you to run straight to the police and tell them, hey, they're fighting, or just run. That's ridiculous. But when you go into the boardroom, that's how they do. He also is an artist. He drew a picture of a bird, a woman, and a dog. Yeah, he draw pretty good. This is, I guess this is one of the ways that he keeps his sanity, by drawing. Okay, now, like I said in my pilot, I asked the questions, and he's, the form that I sent out to the prison with the model that I had on there so they know what to do. I put my questions on there, and he wanted to answer them. Okay, my first question was, what do you do when somebody calls you a racial name? He says, we must forgive, ignore, and move on, and always avoid confrontation. Okay. My second question was, what do you do to handle your feelings when somebody calls you a racial name or you hear somebody else being called a racial name? He says, shun and avoid that person without confronting them. So basically, just ignore it. All right. My third question was, what do you do when you know that most other people around you are racist, like at work? Okay, he says, be always polite to them, regardless, and move on. Don't hang around and keep busy and focus on your work or duties. Okay. My next question was, what do you do to control your temper after you have already gotten extremely angry? Okay, he says, back off, chill out, and do not get angry in the first place. Let God be the one to show anger when he is ready. And someday he will. Trust me. Okay. And my last question was, what do you do to handle a lot of free time when you're bored other than a hobby or watching TV? He says, get some good books about important subjects like genealogy, climate change, building construction, and arts and crafts. Get busy and make a model. Draw a design for a new house. Do auto repair work and learn how to play an instrument or prepare food dishes like a chef. There is a lot of good things to do out there. Yeah, I have been working on a few cars. I don't know about one of them. These new cars are something else. They talk to you. Okay, so yeah, I'll take the advice and add it to my toolbox. And if you want to give him any advice or help him with which direction to go with the governor or whatever kind of help you can give him, his name is Peter Bergine. His number is E57901. He's in the California State Prison, San Quentin, 4W45, San Quentin, California, 94974. So if you want to say anything to him, you know, to boost the spirits up or what have you, that's how you get at it. Yeah, so, you know, it's good to have tools. And I believe if I didn't have these tools 3 years, as long as I've been out in, wow, never had no tools. And I go over them. I got my little tool list here. When I get angry, I grind my teeth, I ball my fist, knot in my stomach, negative thoughts, negative self-thoughts, self-pity, or medicate. And those work, because I truly believe if I didn't have this, I might have already been back in prison. For instance, not too long ago, me and my wife, we went into this drive-in fast food place. The line was long. It was like 10 cars. So when we get up there and I make my order, I ask for some French fries. she says, well, the fries are cooking now. Is it going to be, 3 or 4 minutes before they're ready? I said, I'll wait. So while we're sitting there, my wife is talking to her, and I'm chiming in. Finally, you know what I'm saying? We get the food, and we leave. So when we leave the place, we had to get on the freeway to get up, so we jump on the freeway. So I'm going through the bag, and all that time that we was waiting for some fries, there's no French fries in the bag. I'm like, man, turn around and go get my fries. So we get off the freeway. We use $5 worth of gas to get a $2 bag of fries. But I won't mind, you can believe that. So when we get there, now the line is even longer. I'm like, oh no, we're not getting, just pull over here. I just go up to the window and tell her. So I go up there and I say, you forgot to put the French fries in the bag. Remember we was talking? She say, oh, you need a receipt. I say, you don't just remember us talking and waiting? I'm sorry, sir, you need a receipt. Oh my God. Boom! Oh man, all kind of stuff was going through my mind. So I'm walking back to the car. It's over there. I'm cussing and making gestures, and my wife see me and she break out. Whoa, what's going on? She wanted to see the receipt for the fries, and we were just talking while I was in a tirade. Hold on, and she gets the receipt. Right? She go up there to get the fries. So I'm sitting in the car and I'm still. And then I noticed that I was grinding my teeth and I was balling my fists. And I have coping skills. Sit there and relax. Do breathing exercise. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your legs. Feel your back against the seat. Breathe in, and I calm down. She got the fries, and we got on the freeway, and that was that. But, I know that don't sound like much, but it could have went if I didn't have these tools. And this was years ago in the same situation would have happened. It could have went. I'll go up there. Hey, excuse me, you forgot to give me your fries. You need a receipt. Where your receipt at? Huh? Well, I was just talking to you. You need a receipt. I say, you don't remember me? No, you need a receipt. Oh, all you seen was just a black dot. That's it. You don't even recognize me, and I just left. You just seen black. So I probably would have snatched her ass out that window, grabbed my gun, and popped her a couple of times or something, and then reached in there and robbed her. Now, while I'm doing that, you got all these people in line here watching. Who knows? It may be an off-duty police officer. It might be a good Samaritan with a gun there, because if a car door would have opened, I'd have shot. Because I got this gun. Evidently, you see this gun. So if you getting out the car, you either a fool or you the police or a good Samaritan. So that's how that could have went down. And I'm serious because a similar situation happened before I had the tools. I was at this nightclub. So, because they were selling drinks after hours and all that. So after I, had a good time, so I'm getting ready to go home. I get in my car. And as I'm driving, I realized that I only got one cigarette left. So I know I want some cigarettes in the morning. So there was a 7-Eleven store on the corner. So, I pulled up in there. I jumped out the car and I was walking really fast. Now the door was locked. So when I put my hand on the window to open it, all my momentum was going forward. And, I smashed all into the window. That commercial where they got this big glass and the guy's walking, he just run into the glass. I imagine it was funny. But the white guy that was inside the store, he was at the counter. And he was like, "We're closed." Ah! We're closed. And he points and he's shaking. He just, oh, I'm seething. So, store locked. So I turn around and go get in my car. I look back. And he's just all over he's just laughing. So I look down and, when you pull your car to park, they got the big little cement blocks. Well, this one was broke. So I reached up under my seat. I got my gun. I took that block, walked up to the window, threw it in there, broke it, went in there on his ass, and then pistol whooping. And then to humiliate him, I felt humiliated, I robbed him. That's what the robbery was basically about too, humiliation, to take from you like you're taking from me my manhood, my self-worth. I want you to feel like I feel. And then I left. Instead of going straight home, I was driving around trying to cool off, ran a stop sign. The police got behind me. Got in a high-speed chase. I ended up hitting a tree. And to make a long story short, I got 7 years in Folsom Penitentiary for that. So that was behind not having any tools and not knowing what was wrong with me. A lot of us, we be intending to do good, but if we have unresolved issues, like in my plan right here, it says triggers of anger, feeling of being disrespected, especially in front of your peers, like he was just talking about, not being included, unfairness, feeling of worthlessness. Them are my triggers. And I became very violent. All right, that's all I have for now. I know it's slow, but I kind of see that the word is getting around the prison. And, I didn't leave that long. But I know a lot of inmates have telephones. It's just, I know you heard of that a lot. And I'm quite sure that they're clicking on YouTube and they're seeing what I'm doing. So it should get better. Zeus, you got anything to say? Huh? Nah, he said he don't have anything to say. He's just sitting there chewing on a bone. Give your dog a soup bone. He'll stay out of your way. Okay, see you next time.